So hello everyone and good afternoon and thank you for joining this 3.6 basic training. So we will go through as per our agenda. We are going through today's 3.6 basic training certification. And let me introduce myself. My uh, name is Sheikh Muzammil. I'm working with the SciTech with more than 3 years of experience and total more than 10 years of experience in IT field, and here working as a pre-sales and technical consultant in SciTech. So today we are going through all the modules for the 3.6 basic training. So let me quickly share my screen so that we can start today's session. So before we will continue, anyone can again put yes that you guys can properly. I'm audible to you guys. Thank you, Varun. So let me quickly share my screen so that we can start today's session. Before starting this session, let me inform you if anyone has not yet completed the certifications, either the basic or the intermediate, or basic is become mandatory from the 3.6 and it should be done. Uh, so anyone who has not yet done, who has already done, that is not an issue. They have already done. But the guys who have not yet done and attending this session first time, so I request you can later do the certification. And if you guys need any help from our end, we can help in passing the certification as well. So and today's once we complete all the modules, then we can, if anyone having the questions, we can have the question answer at the end after completing all the modules. Okay, so let me quickly share my screen. Once you can see, anyone can put yes so that I come to know yes, you guys can see the screen and I can go ahead. Thank you. So as I told you, so we are going through the basic certification here, which includes, like, if we need to install the 3.6, what things we need to take care, what are the prerequisites, okay, what needs to be done before installing the 3.6, and what all the information or what all the things we should have so that it will work properly without any issue. And what are all the steps we are going through to we check how to install the 3.6, and what are the supported IP phones, how to configure the phones, how to configure the apps, how to configure the firewall, how to use these all the functionalities. So this is the course, like we will go through one by one. These are the 8 modules. Earlier it was only 7 modules in the basic training, but now they add this ring groups in the basic certification module. Otherwise it was in the advanced before that. Now they have added this one. Otherwise the rest of the modules are same. So we will go one by one. Like, first we will check the installation, install 3.6. Okay, if we are going to install the 3.6, what things we need to take care, okay, what are the prerequisites, and on what platforms we can install the 3.6. So then we can check the 3.6 apps, what apps we can use, like mobile apps, Windows or Linux app or iOS app, or all the apps which we can use in the 3.6. We can check and go one by one. Same way we can check the telephone phones, like IP phones, configuring how to configure the IP phones or desk phones for with the 3.6. Then we can see the firewall. What are the all the ports we need to open for the 3.6 in the firewall so that it will communicate without any issue from inside to outside and or from outside to inside. Same way we will see some VoIP provides and the SIP trunks if we need to integrate with the SIP trunk, what all things we need to take care. And then voicemail, what are the functionality of voicemail, and then the digital receptionist IVR for the 3.6. And at the end we will see the ring groups. Okay, what are the ring groups and how we can see them. Okay, so as I told you, we will go one by one all the modules, and if anyone having the questions, we can check do that at the end of this training. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's start with the first module. So installing the 3CX PBX, okay, as we all aware about the 3CX is a software-based PBX. So if we need to configure the 3CX or install the 3CX, what things we need to take care so that we will successfully install the 3CX in our infra, okay. So we will see the prerequisites. What are the prerequisites that we need to take care before installing the 3CX? We will see the some concepts. Obviously, networking is the backbone for all the real-time applications. So 3CX is one of them. Okay, there's a real-time application, and network is the backbone. So we'll see the FQDN and the certificates, what we need for the 3CX, and then at the end we will see the web-based setup wizard through which we can install the 3CX. So first prerequisites comes operating system. Okay, whenever we have to install any application, so we right now talking about the 3CX, there should be some operating system. Okay, first thing I need to let clear here, we can install the 3CX in the physical server, we on the physical environment, like on premises we can have the virtualization, and we can install it on the cloud. So there are the three platforms on which we can install 3CX. But once the server is ready, there's a physical server, then we should have some operating system. Well, so what are the operating systems on which we can install the 3CX? So first comes the Linux Debian 9. AMD 64 architecture. Okay, so we need to install we can install the our 3.6 on the Debian 9 machine. Okay, but we need to just download the ISO image for the 3.6 and we can install it. Okay, but one thing we need to take care that it should be dedicated to this particular 3.6 server only. There should not be any other third-party software installed on that particular server. Same goes to the Raspberry Pi, but it is up to only up to 8 simultaneous calls. That means if we have some small requirement, we have only 8-10 users, and we don't want to use any other Windows or Linux machine, and we have Raspberry, we can use that up to 8 simultaneous calls. Okay, for the small requirement. Same, then we can go for the Microsoft Windows operating system Pro. Okay, we can use to install the 3.6 or Windows any server like 2019, 2016, 2012 R2. Now 2012 R2 is not that recommended, so it's better to use 2016 or 2019 for the new version 16. Okay, so these are the operating systems that we need to take care of. If we need to install the 3.6, we should have any of these operating systems so that we can install the 3.6. So one, if we talk about the Windows, okay, well, now we have chosen the Windows operating system. So what we need to take care if we are going to install the 3.6 on the Windows operating system. So we should have full updated, okay, Windows full update with .NET 4.6.1 is required. If we need to install the 3.6 on the Windows machine, we should have the browser that is supported browser like Chrome, Edge, or Firefox. Internet Explorer is not supported with the 3.6. So as I told you earlier also, it should be free from any other third-party software, like there should be no Exchange, no MSM SQL Server, DNS or VPN installed on this particular server on which we have installed the 3.6 that could hamper our services. Okay, so it should be free from any third-party software. It should be dedicated to 3.6 server application only. So if we are using any antivirus, as we know, we should make the exclusions for the 3.6 folder so that it will not make any hamper or tamper in our packets in the 3.6. So this we need to take care if we are using the Windows operating system. And if we are talking about the Linux, okay, we are now going to install the 3.6 on the Linux. So again, Linux operating system should be dedicated to 3.6 only. There should not be any other software, third-party software installed on that. It should be free from any other software, third-party software. Okay, same goes to the Windows and same goes to the Linux. So, so if we, as I told you, we can have three platforms. We can say where we can install the 3.6. We can have the bare metal, that means the physical server. We can have it on the virtualization, Hyper-V or VMware, or we can have it on the cloud. Okay, any of the cloud provider like Azure or Google or AWS, whatever we are going to use. Okay, so here we are talking about the VM now, the hypervisors platforms, like we can install it on the Microsoft Hyper V greater than 2008 R2, VMware EXI greater than 5.0, KVM or Citrix Z server greater than 7.0. See, this is the virtualization. Okay, on the virtual environment we can install the 3.6. Now goes to the 3CX. As I told you, we can have it on the bare metal hypervisors like the virtualization, and now on the cloud. So we can use simply PBX Express tool, that is a small utility from the 3CX, and within few minutes you can install the 3CX application on the cloud. We can have Amazon AWS, Amazon Lightsail, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. So these are all platforms that are supported by the 3.6. So we can use any of these platforms, and then we can install the 3.6. So here we come to know there we can install the 3.6 at three places, either on the physical server, either on the virtualization, or on the cloud. And the operating system should be, as we already see, either the Windows, the Linux, Raspberry. uh, these are all the operating systems we can install the 3.6. So hardware, as I told you, hardware there should be the bare metal or VM or cloud providers. That is up to us. What is our requirement? Where we need to install the 3.6. So we can install it on any of the three platforms. So what are the minimum resources requirement? So what type of machine we need? Okay, what type of server we need, or what are the specs we need? Okay, so this is you can find this link that is provided by the 3.6 in the VR website, where you can find what type of machine we need. It depends upon your simultaneous calls, your users. Okay, if we have 10 users, okay, so our specs should be some different. If we need some 50 users, or need 100 or 1,000, so it depends upon our requirement. Okay, what type of requirement we have, accordingly we have to choose the specs for the server. Okay, so specs means we need to check the RAM, we need to check the CPU. Okay, what type of CPU we need, what type of memory, how many 100 GB, 500 GB, what we require. Okay, it depends upon our requirements. So this is given in the 3.6 website. As per our requirement, how many users we have, accordingly we can choose the server specs, either on the bare metal, on the VM, or on the cloud. It hardly matters, we can choose it anywhere. So resources, as I told you, resources depends on the use cases. Like extension count should be accordingly. We should use the memory, what type of, how much memory we use. Call recording, what type of call, how much we need the call recording. Accordingly, we use the hard disk, the VoIP providers. So these are all the requirements what we use. Accordingly, we can choose the specs. So if we talk about the networking, okay, LAN, fundamental networking knowledge should be there. As I told you, it's a backbone, because every real-time application works on the network. Okay, so network is a backbone. So once we install the 3.6, yes, it should be some networking should be done, because obviously it will work on the network. If we install a 3.6, then we connect with the phone or with the gateway. It should be connected with the network, through the network, either on the LAN, or if we have something in the remote location, then through the internet connection also. So the LAN, so networking concept should be there. Some little concept like how it works, how the IP it will get. So then simply if we talk about the internal, it will be working on the HTTP, allow HTTP access to PBX, so that it works SIP with the IP address of the PBX. Obviously there should be the one IP address in the LAN, which we have assigned to the our server PBX on the LAN. So it is very simple. We need only one network interface card on the PBX, or we can say server, or assign a static IP address to it. Only one IP address is required. And rest, if we have more than one network interface cards on the server, so better to disable all the other cards. So we can use that one for the IP address of this particular server. Wired network should be there. Obviously, we use always the LAN connection, not the Wi-Fi for the server. So this is very simple. Only one static IP address we require for the server for the internal LAN purpose. We need to, if we talk about the WAN part, we should configure the firewall, because from access from outside to inside, because outside world don't know our IP address, private IP address of the server. So to come the traffic from outside to inside, from inside to outside, we should configure the firewall. Okay, so that's why there should be some knowledge how to configure the firewall, like port forwarding, how we need to open the ports. Okay, all the required ports. Okay, like 5060 SIP port, like 5090 tunnel port. We need to open these ports so that the communication from outside to inside will come without any issue. It will, the firewall will not stop the our packets. So internet access, like static IP brings many benefits. Like why it's telling, like obviously we use always recommend to use a static IP address. It is like it's not it will not work on the dynamic. Yes, dynamic public IP address also will work, but once if the dynamic IP address got changed, it will take that time, that moment, till it will get updated with your FQDN. Your remote locations or the clients that are outside will not work for that much time. So there will be the downtime for that particular time till it will get updated. So we always recommend to use a static IP address so that there will be no downtime. So no HTTPS proxy, no SSL deep inspection should be there, and we should allow these outbound traffic URLs, so that because once we install the 3.6, it should be activated. So this URL should be reachable, activation.36.com. Same way, if we need the updates and downloads, because 3.6 itself downloads the new templates and firmware for the phones. So these should be allowed, and so that the 3.6 will download these particular templates and firmwares. Same goes to web meeting. We need to join the web meeting, so this URL should be access. It should be reachable from our server so that we can join the 3.6 web meeting. So this comes in the network part from the WAN side. Mostly we can say on the firewall we should open these all ports. So as I should you all guys know, there are like three types of license in the 3.6. We have the standard, we have the pro, professional, and the enterprise. So what are all the differences? It's all the features differences, not right. If we need the 3.6, if we talk about the standard license, it is simply, it will give you the 3.6 FQDN SMTP server. That means your basic telephony features. Okay, with the standard license you will get all the basic features with the standard. If we need some more, like you need call queues, you need bridge between the two PBXs, you need the reports, you need the CRM integration or the hotel integration, okay, then you will go for the pro license. And if you need some more advanced recording control, customization of phone logo, you need your own company phone logo on the IP phone, uh, then failover option you need, okay, then you should go for the enterprise. This means like this is only the features that is getting enhanced from a license to license, like from standard to pro and pro to enterprise. So it's all our requirement, what type of requirement we are having. Accordingly we have to choose the license. Otherwise there is no other difference. Like all the three license will work, like PBX will be working 3.6, but only the features, okay, are advanced in the like pro and enterprise. So it depends upon what type of features we need. If we need more advanced features, then we obviously go for the pro or enterprise. If we need some basic telephony features, then standard will work. Okay, so once we will get the license, so this is the we can say the installation, first installation screen which comes once we provide the 3.6 license, and then we can start the installation of 3.6. So we get the license, we provide the license, and we can install the 3.6. So for this here we need, as I told you, we need the FQDN also, because if we have the 3.6 IP, obviously it will look on the IP. We need to have the internal IP address for the 3.6 and also for the public IP address, but there should be the FQDN, because once we install the 3.6, we need the certificate, and certificates work on the FQDN, not on the IP address, because there's a subject already named as the FQDN. That's not work on the IP address. So can I install just on the IP address? No, certificate works on the FQDN. So there should be the FQDN that we provide during the time of installation, like our FQDN. So it depends upon, we are managing our own network, we can use our own FQDN, or we are using the 3.6 FQDN. Like we have my company.36. AE36.asia.com. So the suffix will be provided by the 3.6. So, or we can use our own FQDN. If we are managing our own DNS publicly, we can use our own FQDN. So that is a different part. We can check that later. But yes, FQDN is required. We need to install the 3.6 with the FQDN. We don't use self-signed certificates that are not that much secure. So we always use third-party certificate authority to use for this certificates. That which will provide this both the private and private public and private keys, so that it will be we can say more secure. Okay, so so we don't use the self-signed certificates that the server itself provide. So yes, FQDN is required to install 3CX. So again, it comes static versus dynamic IP address. Yes, we can use both. As I told you, we can use both static and dynamic, but we recommend to use the static IP address for the more convenient way. And for if we don't need to have any downtime, it's always recommended to use the static IP address. So domain 3CX domain services, what the 3CX provide. If we are using 3CX domain, it will give you the 3CX public FQDN. As I told you, it can give you the FQDN. We will choose like my company dot suffix will be provided the 3CX. Depending upon the location, which region we are choosing, accordingly it will provide the 3CX suffix. It will provide you the trusted SSL certificate during the time of installation. We don't need to generate our own certificate. It will be provided by the 3CX, and support for the dynamic IPs as well. As I told you, dynamic IP is also supported. So it depends on, if we don't have the static IP, yeah, then we could go for the dynamic IP. But recommendation, we always try to use the static IP address. As I told you, 3CX domain, once I use this, I need 3CX FQDN, we will provide the host name for installation, and then accordingly, like demo installer 3cx.co.uk. So this suffix is provided by the 3CX. Okay, so it depends upon which region we are choosing. Okay, accordingly the suffix will be provided by the 3CX. As I told you, PBX uses the ports. These are the important things, and there are some default ports that are provided by the 3CX. But we can change these ports during the time of installation. Okay, if we are not going to use the default port, we need some other ports to be used. Then accordingly, we have to open those ports on the firewall. Okay, which we are using, not the default one. Like if we use the default ports, yes, 5000 for HTTP traffic on the LAN, or HTTPS, we use default port 5001. Okay, and SIP port 5060 and tunnel port 5090. So this is the port range, that is a default port range from the 3CX, and we can only choose, or we can only change them. Okay, so we can only choose them during the time of installation. If we are going to change the ports later, we can't change. If we have done the installation and later we want to change the default port range, that we can't do. That means we have to reinstall the again PBX, then only we can change it. So if we are using the default port range here, we can use. If we don't want to change it, so we have to change here, and accordingly we have to open the ports in the firewall. Okay, so as I told you, there are two types of network, either the managed network or unmanaged network. Managed network means we have our own DNS. Okay, we are managing our own internal, external DNS. We create the A records. Okay, that is pointing to our PBX, both from the external as well as the internal. Okay, so here we can use our own FQDN, and we can manage. We need to manage like certificate. We have to install our own. We have to generate the certificate our own, and everything we have to do ourselves. 3CX will not do anything for us. We have to manage each and everything from our side. But if we have unmanaged network, okay, router is like a DNS and DHCP. So we use the select local IP address, and then in this case, the 3CX will provide the FQDN, 3CX will provide the SSL certificate, and we don't need to install. We don't need to install ourselves anything. It will be done by the 3CX, and we don't need to manage the DNS as well. It will be managed by the 3CX. So it depends upon what type of infra or we have. Accordingly, we have to choose what we are going to use. Same if we are using internal FQDN allows separate DNS. As I told you, separate DNS means like same FQDN will be internal as well as external. Only the thing will be the IP address. For external, it will be the public, or for internal, it will be the LAN IP address. So which allows us to failover setup also. If we have our own managed network, we can do the failover setup also. And we need to configure our own internal DNS and DHCP server in this case. So if nothing to manage, then install a local IP address, and that's it. Rest everything will be taken care by the 3.6. We don't need to do anything. So web-based setup, this is very important, the extension length. This is like we had to choose what type of extension we are going to use. We are going to use a 2 digits, 3 digits, 4 digits, or a 5 digits. So this is the thing we need to take care in at the time of installation only. So later, if we need to change it, we can't change it. So that is not possible. So it's always recommended to use whatever we had to choose. So we had to choose at the time of installation. If we choose 3 digits and later we think that we are going to use 4 digits, that is not possible. Okay, that we need to install it again. Okay, we can't change it later. So web-based wizard, as I told you, administrator email. Once we go to the web, what install the 3.6 with the web-based wizard, we provide the administrator email. Why? uh, this email address will receive the update information, backup and restore process. Whenever we take the backup, it will get updated to this particular email address that a backup has been done. Or whenever we take any support info files, it will be going to this particular email address. All the informations, warnings of the system will go to this email address, which we provide for the as an administrator email during the time of installation. So mail server, we can use any 3.6 SMTP we can use, or we can use some custom, our Gmail, our Outlook email, any of the mail providers, Office 365. Okay, we can use any of these mail servers. The purpose of this is once we will send the welcome email or the fax or the voicemails or the missed call notification, this will come through this particular mail server, which we are going to use. It depends for which one you're going to use. If we can use normally the Gmail or the Google also. So it depends upon which we are going to use. We use 3.6 SMTP or the some custom SMTP server. So time zone for the Linux sets automatically. Okay, but we need to manually set for the Windows. Okay, so voicemail number allows country to installation. Again, we need to change, do the this time zone manually for the Windows, and we have to check the country and then the time zone which we are going to use. But for the Linux machines, it will be do it automatically. We don't need to manually set the time zone for the Linux machines. Okay. So these are the registration details. Once we will install the 3.6. Once we install, sorry, I was receiving a call. So this is the registration details. We need to provide the registration details here. Owner key, reseller, partner ID. So this is all the information we provide. Like once we do the registration, all the phone number, and these are the just the update details for all for the company information. So once we done, so this is like what we call. Here we have the 3.6. This is the web, we can show the management console. Once our 3.6 is up, this is something we will get. Okay, so this is the management console where we will get all the information about our PBX. Okay, we can see everything here. How much is the disk usage, how much is the memory usage, CPU usage. Okay, how many trunks are up. Okay, how many extensions we have and how many are up, how many numbers or calls are using. Okay, so all the information we can get from here. We can monitor our PBX from here. Okay, everything is up and working or not. So this is the first thing you will get after once you install the 3.6. So this is all like once we install a 3.6. Now once the 3.6 is installed, now we need to use it. Okay, how we are going to use it? We need some apps, okay, through which we can use the 3.6. Okay, 3.6 is installed, that means your telephony system is up. Now we need to use it. Okay, so we will see the 3.6 apps and the web client. Okay, we can have the 3.6 apps through which we can use the 3.6, or we can have the web client also. That is like we can use on the browser anywhere. We don't need anything to be installed, just some credentials and one URL through which we can use the all the telephony features on the web, sorry, on the browser. That is the web client. So what is exactly it is, we deliver a complete endpoint telephony solution on the existing hardware, okay, on the PC or on the mobile. So we are using this 3.6 app, or on the 3.6, either on the phone, mobile phone, or on the PC or on the laptop. We can install the 3.6 application and we can use it. So it's all feature rich product, like we can run alongside the IP phones, okay, on the same extension number. That means there's a SIP forking. That means we can have the more than one endpoint for the particular extension. Okay, if we have extension 111, we can have the 3.6 application installed on the laptop. We can have 3.6 application installed on the mobile client. We can have 3.6 IP phone provision for this particular 111 extension, and we can have also, we can use also web client for this particular extension. That means whenever the call will come, it will come to all the endpoints, and whichever the user will pick, it will work. So that means SIF forking. We can use more than one endpoints for the particular extension without any issue. Okay, it will not create any issue. Seamless internal external use. We can use it internally as well as externally, because 3.6 client is always dual location provisioned. Whenever we provision the client, any application like 3.6 application, it is dual location provision, means it will be getting provisioned for internal as well as external. So it depends upon where the user or the client is, like user is internally, so it will get connected through internally. Okay, if it is outside some location, remote location, it will get connected through the external. That means through the tunnel port and through the FQDM. Or if it is internal, that means it will go to 5060 port on the IP address. So it is dual provisioned always. Okay, we don't need to provision it, like if we are internally, we need to provision it once, and if we are somewhere else on the remote location, we need to provision it again. No, it will get dual provision. So no software installation required if we are using web client, just a browser. Okay, as I told you, if we are using a web client, we don't need any application to be installed. It will be work on the browser. So web client can also control IP phones and 3.6 apps. That means through the web client, we can control our 3.6 app as well as IP phone. Like we need to make a call, we can call it from the web client and it will go to the phone also. That means we can have control through web client. If we need the app, okay, or the web client, what should be there? If we need a web client, there should be the supported browser. Okay, Chrome, Firefox, or Edge. Okay, so this is the requirement, or we can say prerequisite if we need to use the web client. That's it. Okay, we should have the supported browser. And what about the supported apps platform for the apps? We can have it on the Windows PC, like we have Windows 10, we have Windows Server 20 to 16 or 19. We can have Apple iOS, iPhone, iPad, okay, iOS 13 plus, any of these operating systems. We can have Android mobile tablets version 7.7 plus, any, okay. 10 is preferred because this is the latest one. So this is the platforms where we can use the or install the 3.6 apps, okay, on the Windows platform, iOS and Android. So how we are going to provision this? We are sending the welcome email. Whenever we create a new extension in the 3.6, then we click on that extension. Upper side, you can find on the screenshot, send welcome email. That means this welcome email will get to the particular user which we provide during the creation of this particular extension. We provide the email ID of this particular user, and whenever we send it will go to this particular user. And what all things it will contain? Why we need this welcome email? Because we can provision our client or apps through this welcome email. Welcome email contains the web client URL. That means if we want to use the web client, the particular URL will be in this web email with the username and password. What are the credentials for this web client to be use? If we want to use the web client, what is the URL and what is the username password? This will be included in this welcome email. Same 36 app provisioning file, there should be the file, one provisioning file. Whenever we need to provision our 36 app on our PC or on the laptop, we need this provisioning file. We just need to click it, double click on this provisioning file, and it will get provision our 36 client. Okay. Said one more thing, that is a QR code. This we are required for the provision of mobile apps. This QR code is present in this welcome email. So these are all the information that is provided in the welcome email. So if we need to provision any client, we need to send this welcome email to the user, and user can easily get provisioned. Okay. It depends, he want to use QR code for the mobile app, he want to use 36 app provisioning file, or he want to use the browser for the web client. So this is the output of the web client. Whenever we use the web client URL and provide the credentials, username, password, that is in the welcome email. This is the web client screenshot. Like we will find this thing, like all, we can see all the users, we can see the contacts, chat, we can see the chat history, voicemail, we can show the conference, we can have the web meeting. Okay. And we can have the switchboard where we can see all the ongoing calls. We can have recording settings. So this is all the feature that is present in the web client. So 36 web client feature is a, as I told you, is a complete telephony functionality, and we can control the IP phones and apps also through this web client. Okay. We can make the audio calls, we can make the hold of calls, we can transfer, we can make a conferencing. So this is like all the telephony features we will get from the web client. So that means we don't need the administrator, don't need to install anything for the user, only need to send the welcome email, so that a user can get this web URL and the username, password, and user can use this web client anywhere in the world through the browser. Okay. And use all the telephony features without installing anything. So again, it's selling the same web client features as I told you. We can see the people like all other users, or we can say colleagues. We can see all of them. We can go to the switchboard, and there we can find the calls who are right now are the currently on the call. We can see all this on the web client. We can make a chat, we can make a file transfer. This is all we can get in the web client. Then web client feature, again, as I told you, desktop notification when browser extension is not active, browser extension will pop up. We have already logged in with the web client, but we are not using it. And in that meantime, if we are doing some other work, we are doing some email, if somebody is calling, we will get a pop-up that is incoming call, then we can answer it. That means if we are not using it right now, it is not active. In the background, once we will get a call, it will get pop up for us like incoming call is coming, and we can receive the call. So we can configure the BLFs. Okay, if we need some speed dial, we need some custom number, we need some external number to be dialed with the particular key, we can make all the BLFs in the web client. Okay, so that whenever we choose this particular key, it will go to this, it will functionize accordingly. Installing the 36 app, as I told you, on the Windows or the smartphones. If you are going to use on the Windows, simply we need to download the 36 app and run this particular installer, and we can install it on the Windows operating system. And if we talk about the smartphones, either the App Store, okay, we can simply download it from the App Store, search our 36 app, and install it on the mobile client. Okay, for that goes to both the Android as well as iOS. Once we install it, then we need to provision it through this. We can scan it, the QR code, and it will get provisioned. And same goes to the Windows. Once we then download the app, we install it, then we need the provisioning file, and it will get provisioned. So we don't need to do it manually. Okay. all the settings. It will just, with the provisioning file, we can easily provision it. So once we'll, as I told you, we need to provision it. So what exactly is a provisioning? So provisioning is nothing. It's just simply some pre-filled configuration of the PBX. Okay, pre-filled configuration means the IP address, the FQDN, the port number, on which port it will work. So all these information. Okay, internally it will use 5060 on this IP address. Externally it will use 5090 with this FQDN. So this is all the pre-filled configuration, vendor specific syntax. And why we use it? So that we can not make any mistakes, we not remove all the human errors. If we are going to do it manually, maybe we will provide some port number, incorrect port number, or IP address, or FQDN, or there should be any mistake. So to overcome this thing, so this is the provision file why we use it. So it is a pre-filled configuration vendor syntax which provide all the information uh, for the PBX to use the for the client. So it will again boost the deployment speed, because we don't need to go manually one by one to the users and configure the apps for them. We can simply send the file once. Again, the administrator can send to all users in one time, and they can simply click and provision the clients. So it will boost the deployment speed also. So it will remove the human errors as well as boost the speed. So very simple. Welcome email provisioning means it's universal for all the 3.6 apps. There is no different welcome emails for different clients. So it is universal for all. Okay. And as I told you, it's good for the remote workers. They don't need to do anything. Don't need to install anything. They can simply use the web client and use all the telephony features anywhere from any part of the world. So as I told you, based on the email attachment, we admin can trigger the welcome email. Okay, users receive this welcome email 3.6 config attachment, and user can open it, install, and it will pop up and it will get provisioned. So there's no manual installation or configuration, anything. It is simply just an admin trigger a welcome email, and we can provision our clients. Same goes to for mobile. As I told you, for mobile is a QR code provisioning, very simple. We need to just scan the QR code on the mobile app and it will get provisioned. And it is available, QR code is available at 3 places. Either we can find it in the welcome email, or we can find it in our web client. Whenever we log in a web client, there also if we can find the QR code, and also in the management console. That means the administrator can check this welcome email. In the extension part, this QR code is present. So 3 places this QR code is present. QR code in the welcome email. So now it's just showing us example like how we can find this. If we send the welcome email, okay, in the 3.6 app there are 3 lines. Once we install the 3.6 on the mobile app, there is the option scan QR code. Simply we need to click on that option and scan this QR code that is present in our welcome email. Okay, and the mobile app will get provisioned. Okay, this is in the welcome email. Next is showing on the web client. On the web client, top of the right hand side, there is a this scan QR code present, option present. From there we can scan the QR code from the web client. And at the end, 3.6 management console. If we go to the extension, edit extension, in the right hand side we can find this QR code. So that means we can scan from 3 places. Okay, this obviously management console is for the administrator, and user can do it from either the welcome email or from the web client. So this is something we will get once our mobile app is provisioned. We will get this greet ready to call. That means our phone is provisioned. Going to mobile, 3.6 always, as I already told you, 3.6 always apps always are dual location provisioned. Okay, that means internal as well as external. For external use outside LAN, open NAT ports we need to open, as I in the earlier once we see the installation of the 3.6, there we will already see we need to open the ports. Okay, particular ports to 3.6, so that our communication from external to internal will come, like the tunnel port 5090 TCP UDP, HTTPS port 5001. Okay, so these are the all ports we need to open from the firewall, so that our application or client will come communicate from outside to inside. So then comes to push notification. If we talk about the mobile client for the push notifications, it's available for both iOS as well as Android, and we don't need to do any configuration for this. No manual configuration. It is by default from the 3.6 end. Okay, it uses native operating system abilities, so which allows us the application to get hibernate. That means no battery consumption, because we are not using 3.6 app always. So it will be we don't need to open it always, and it will not consume the battery. There will be no consumption of battery. It will wake up only whenever we receive the call. That on that time only it will get a pop-up and we receive the call. Okay, so flow will be same. Whenever we have the incoming call, it will come to 3.6 first, then vendor push service. Okay, and then it will come to the mobile device, and then the app will be get the pop-up. So that means why this get, so that it allows the app to get hibernate. So we don't need to open it always, then only we can receive the call. Okay, so this is done with the push notification, and for this we don't need to do any manual configuration. So this is the 3.6 apps. Once we install the apps, so this is done with the apps. Now we will see the local phones. Okay, if we have already done the application, now we will see how to install the IP phone, desk phones. Okay, so what are the prerequisites we need if to use the phone? Okay, and what things we need to take care, so that we are going to use the IP phones or desk phones for with the 3.6. So we will see the some prerequisites, what things we need to take care, and concept of provisioning the IP phones. There's PNP, that is plug and play provisioning. Okay, PNP available with the 3.6. So we will see how to use the BLFs. We use firmware management, what firmware we need to use for the 3.6, and then at the end we will see the 3.6 web client remote control, how the 3.6 web client will control the IP phones. So first comes the prerequisites. What are all the supported IP phones? Because there are a list of supported IP phones from the 3.6 that are supported, like we have Faneuil, Grandstream, Magitech, Storm, Yealink. So these are the supported IP phones, and if we use any of these supported IP phones, yeah, definitely we will not face any issue with the 3.6. It will work without any issue. And if we are facing any issue during the time of provisioning, or something is happening, not working properly, then 3.6 support team will also support, because we are using supported IP phones. If you are not using supported IP phones, we are using some other legacy phones. In that case, the 3.6 will not support, technical team will not support. Okay, because we are not using the supported IP phones. So we always recommend to use the supported IP phones, so that in case there is some issue, the 3.6 technical team will help definitely. So we should have the full firmware requirement. Okay, that is present in the 3.6 website. Always use the recommended firmware and updated firmware. We should use the IP phone with the same subnet at which we are using the 3.6. That means the server and the IP phone should be on the same subnet, so that we will not face any issues. Okay, network related issues. And all the support IP phones are present in the 3.6 website. This is the URL present. You can find all the supported IP phones with the 3.6 present in this URL. So again, now the question is how to configure the IP phone. So what is provisioning? Again, the provisioning will be same. Okay, it's a pre-filled configuration. Okay, so provisioning is the process of passing a predefined set of settings on the device. Okay, and in this case, to an IP phone, that this decreases the administration time per device and eliminates setup errors. Never configure device manually. Again, we see the same thing. What we see for the application, same goes to the IP phone. So whenever we provision the IP phone, this provisioning, it is all the settings, whatever syntax, whatever configurations are required for IP phone to get configured, it is sent by the PBX to the phone itself. Okay, and we don't need to do it manually. Like we don't put the all the username, password, IP address, these things we don't need to do it manually. Only we will provision it, and the device will get reboot and it will get provisioned with the particular extension. So it will decrease the administrative times. We don't need to go one by one on every user's desk and configure the phone. We can do it from the console, and we don't need to do it manually so that we can make some errors and then we need to troubleshoot it. And we our the 3.6 recommend don't do the manual configuration, always do the provisioning, so that you will not do any you will not face any issues, because you can make some errors or you can make some mistakes during the time of provisioning. So always use the provisioning process for the desk phones. Now PNP provisioning, what is PNP provisioning? Is plug and play provisioning. It is very simple and fast. We don't need to do anything. We just need to plug in the network cable into the phone, and it will give its presence to the PBX that this is the IP address and I am present. Okay, and then from the management console it will pop up the particular the model and the IP address of the phone, and we can assign this IP phone to the particular extension. Okay, it is very simple and very fast. So based on multicast message, endpoint announces presence. Okay, PBX receives announcement. As I told you, PBX will receive, okay, this is the IP phone present in my network. Admin approves and assigned to desk phone. That means admin will approve, okay, this IP phone will be assigned to this extension number. Okay, and it will get provisioned. So it's very simple and plug and play provisioning. As I told you, see, once we boot the desk phone, if it is a new phone, okay, we don't need to make a factory reset. If it is already using used phone like it was earlier used with some other extension, so better to factory reset it so that we will not face any issue. Factory reset it, and then once we boot up the desk phone from the management console, on the phones tab we will see this particular phone with the version, okay, with the IP address, okay, this in the bold letters, and we just click and simply assign the extension. Okay, we need to simply assign the extension. Okay, extension 111 is for this, and it will get reboot and the phone will get provisioned for this. And more than one phone is possible. As I told you, SIP forking, it is this feature is present in the PBX. SIP forking, that means if we have more than one IP phones for the particular extension, we can use all without any issue. So plug and provision, validate settings, optional configuration preferences, like if we need some more time zone language, that we can do manually from the phone, network settings, phone behavior, how, what ringtones, what type of logo, or BLF we need to make, or how, what type of transfer is a blind or attended transfer we need. So these settings we can make, these are optional settings. Okay, we can, the phone configures itself. Okay, so basic, whatever the provisioning is done, the phone will get all the information for the from the PBX to the phone, and it will get provisioned. So BZLF field BLFs, yes, we can do it on the IP phones, we can do it on the 3.6 apps or on the web client. So but the difference between the apps and phones is, it will, if we do the BLF for IP phones, it will monitor extension call state only, not the profile state. That means profile state is, it is available away or do not disturb. Extension call state means it is on the call or ringing or it is idle. It will monitor only the extension call state, not the profile state. But if we use the BLF in the application, let's 3.6 app on Windows, it will monitor both the call state as well as the profile state. If the user is available, busy, whatever it is, it will show both. So other BLFs, we can have the line keys, we can have profile state change if we need to change the profile state, if we need to change the queue state, speed dial, custom numbers. So all these, as we see in the web client, we can do all these for the phones also. Firmware, we need to ensure compatibility with the 3.6. Yes, which our user tested 3.6 software firmware version. We need to always use those. And supported firmware version should be there. Always use up-to-date management console. Ensures features and functionality, multiple firmware versions available. So if the firmware that is currently working or we have installed on the phone is not the recommended one or the supported one, okay, it should come in the red. Okay, it will come on the red. That means your firmware is not updated. You should update the firmware with the supported 3.6 firmware. Okay, so we should always use the supported firmware, because whenever we if we have some issues facing the issues and we will go to the 3.6 team, they will first check this thing that their phones are using the supported firmware version or not. If we are not using, they will first tell that please update your firmware for the phones. So what I was telling you that it will come in red, this is something like that it is showing in the screenshot. If your firmware is not the supported firmware, it will come in the red in the phone tab. You will see the particular phone with this red. That means you need to click on make the firmware new firmware on the firmware button. You have to click and install the new firmware supported version. So because latest firmware is downloaded automatically from the 3.6 server, so IP phone must be provisioned with this particular firmware. Okay. In the end, the last we can see this 3.6 web client. As I told you, it can remote control our IP phones or the apps. Okay. So what we can do, we can control the IP phone with a mouse click. Like we can dial, we can pick up, we can transfer through this web client. Okay, from the web client, and it will go to the desk phone. That means we can simply control our desk phone from this web client. Same goes to the application also, Windows application also. We can easily dial and click to call extension. Okay, web pages, email, CRM. So this is the click to call feature that is present, so that we can install on the browsers, or so that we can have any numbers present in the web page, email or CRM, any phone numbers. It once we click on that phone number, it will come directly to our web client and we can make a call. We don't need to manually dial those numbers. Okay, simply click to call. So if we need to provision remote control the IP phone from the web client, what prerequisites we should have? We should have the supported web browser, either the Chrome, Firefox, or Edge. We should have the provision supported IP phone with the latest firmware. Okay, there should be the supported IP phone that is present in the list of 3.6 website supported IP phones with the latest firmware, and there should be latest 3.6 app. If we need to uh, control the 3.6 app, it should be Windows, Mac, or Android, whatever app it is using, it should be with the latest app. Okay, so this is the prerequisite if we need to use the web client as a remote control for these application or the desk phone. So what is the application and how we can make it? Here we can see it in the right hand side. You can see this screenshot of this web client where we have the web Yealink phone provisioned. We have 3.6 client for Windows and web client. Okay, that means we can make a, we have the click on the web Yealink phone. That means we can control the Yealink phone from this web client. So whenever we make some call from the web client, it will go from the phone also, because we have selected the Yealink. If we want to control the 3.6 Windows client, then we have to click on the 3.6 client. And if we don't want to control anything, we just simply need to use the web client, then we select the web client. So here we can control it. So it depends upon how we are going to use. We are going to use normally the web client. We can choose the web client. If we want to control the application 3.6 Windows client, then we can choose the 3.6 client. And if we want to control the Yealink phone, desk phone, then we need to choose the one that we want to use. So accordingly, we can use this as a control, a remote control for the applications, the IP phones. Again showing how once we will make a control, we can answer a call, we can manage a call, we can transfer a call from the web client. Okay. Click to call, as I told you, we can use this click to call, but we need to install it first on the Chrome browser or on the Firefox. Okay, if we go to the web client, there we can find this install click to call. Okay, and it will get installed. Okay, if we configure the Chrome extension, we need to first close the Chrome, log onto the web client, and setting retrieved automatically next time. Okay, and whenever we click on, once we install it, and then whenever we click on any website, there's a phone number, or in the CRM there's any phone number, it will come directly to the web client. Okay, and we don't need to manually type the particular phone number. Okay, so this is again showing to click to call on the Firefox. If we need to install it on the Firefox, how we are going to use, we need just open the web client, login. In the new tab, we just go to the Firefox add-on manager. There we will find and install 36 click to call. Setting will get retrieved automatically. Okay, and we can use this feature on the Firefox also. So this is the click to call. Once we install it on the Chrome and Firefox, so like this is the example showing, like this is the website and this is the phone number, and we just click on this phone number, and it will come with this 36 web client. It will come the number automatically, so we don't need to click dial the number manually. So this is the web clients and the desk phones. So now we will see the firewall. Okay, how we'll set up the firewall for the 36. Okay, we will see some concepts of NAT and port preservation, how we're doing the NAT, network address translation, what is CPLG, SIP application layer gateway. Okay, we will see the setup for providers, how we set up for the providers. If we need providers to get set up, how what ports we need to open. Same way, we will see setup for 36 apps, SBCs we are going to use, or bridges. Okay, so setup for the IP phones, like in the stunt. Okay, from the stunt provisioning, if we are going to use stunt provisioning for the remote location, what things we need to take care. Okay, so first comes firewall configuration. Why we need the firewall? Because voice calls need to pass from the firewall to reach your PBX. As I told you in the earlier, first in the installation of 36, because whenever the traffic will come from outside to inside. Okay, so it will come from the firewall. Okay, so if the ports are not open, then it will stop that particular traffic. So we need this firewall configuration, so that we will open the particular ports, so that traffic will come from outside to inside. So voice calls use several ports. As I told you, SIP for signaling, RTP for audio, RTP port range, like from 9000 to 10999. This is the RTP port range for the 36. So these ports should be open, so that the traffic will come from outside to inside. Firewall will block traffic by default. Okay, by default it will block traffic. We need to open those ports, so we need to configure the firewall or router calls to reach the PBX, because from outside to inside we should allow the traffic. So for this purpose we need the firewall configuration. Okay, so we should have the knowledge of firewall. Like we can configure any firewall, pfSense, WatchGuard, SonicWall, any. Give me just in the example. Like you should have the knowledge of firewall device, so that you can open the particular ports. Okay, and 36 will not configure your firewall. That means 36 will not help you or configure the firewall. It is, you have to done by your own. Okay, this network part you have to done by your own. In this part, the 36 will not help. So NAT, as I told you, network address translation, we will translate the public IPv4 to private IPv4. That means from public IP address to private IP address, because public IP address don't know your private IP address. So to reach from public to private, there should be the port. We open the NAT. Okay, we do the network address translation, so that traffic from outside to inside will come to reach our PBX. So we will allow or restrict. Okay, we will allow the traffic or restrict the traffic on the firewall. So we require to require the allow the connections to 36 from providers, from 36 apps, supported IP phones, or from the bridges or SBCs. We need to allow the traffic. Okay, IPv6 is also supported, but not using it, so we don't talk about the IPv6, but it is also supported. So full cone NAT means one-to-one NAT. Okay, 36 requires full cone NAT. That means one-to-one NAT. We should have done public IP address to the private IP address with the particular port. Okay, 5060. This is the one-to-one. Okay, then we should have public to private with the 5090, then public to private with the RTP ports. So there should be all the ports should be open, okay, from public to private, so that all the traffic will reach, whatever traffic is coming, it will reach our PBX internally, okay, because that's particular private IP address is not known to the internet, okay. So to come the traffic from external to reach internal, we should do the net and open the particular ports. So source port and the external source port, same as I told you. There's a firewall, and from source to destination, the port should be open. Then only it will reach. Okay, we have some public IP address, some remotely client that is in the remote location. To reach our PBX, the port should be open, like we have 5060 or 5090, from the public IP address to private IP address to reach our PBX. Okay, so port preservation is done. Disable SIP-ALG. This is very important, like application layer gateway. This is the firewall part, not the PBX part. So this SIP-ALG is on the firewall. Okay, this is not on the 3.6. So this is on the firewall, and we need to disable it always, because it will otherwise create lots of issues. So is the application layer gateway on the firewall, and we need to disable it always. Whichever firewall we are using, any of the firewalls, we have to disable it, okay. Otherwise it will uh, we can say it will restrict the packets, and we can face like one-way audio issue, or call will disconnect within 30 seconds. So this type of issues we can face if we are not disabling this CPLG. So we always recommend to disable CPLG, and this is not on the 3.6. I'm again repeating, this is not the 3.6 part, this is the firewall, and whichever firewall you are using, you have to disable the CPLG on the particular firewall. So if we are going to use setup for the providers, we have to use the inbound NAT ports. Like we use the SIP port, default is 5060 UDP and 5060 TCP we need to open. Same way we need to open the audio port range, like from 9000 to 10990. So UDP. So these all ports we have to allow, so that the traffic will come from the providers. Okay, if we are using any providers, so these ports should be opened. Same way, if we are using 3.6 apps from outside, we are using SBC or we are using bridge. These are the ports that should be open, like tunnel port combines the SIP and audio traffic, that is default is 5090 TCP UDP, and HTTPS port for the presence, that is 5001 TCP. So this we need to allow from WAN to LAN. Okay. And if you are going to use 3.6 web meeting, yes, then port 443 should also be open, because whenever we create meeting, it will use port 443. But whenever we join meeting, it is using 5001. So port 443 should also be allowed. Okay. So inbound NAT ports get changed during the installation, as I told you. These ports can be changed. This is the default port range that right now we are talking about, but we can change it during the type of installation. And if we are changing it, then accordingly we have to open those change ports. Okay, then we don't need to open these default port range, then we need to open the ports that we had changed. So these are the port range. As I told you, we need to configure it on the firewall, and we have to open all these ports. And if we are using some remote IP phones like Stun, or we were using some web client, so what port we can use? Okay, we need to use SIP a default port 5060. We need to open the audio port range, that is 9000 to 10999, and we use the provisioning default port 5001 TCP. And for web client, yes, same goes to 5001 for presence, and audio port range, that is 10500 10999. Okay, so these are the all port range that we need to open. Okay, so whatever we are going to use, like remote IP phones, or remote 3.6 app clients or web client, so for this we need to open all these ports. Remote configuration wizard, this is the port HTTP 5015 TCP This is only required during the type of installation. Only once we require this. Once we are hosting the PBX, that time we need this port 501. Later we don't need this port, but it should be open because during the time of initial installation it will be used, because this is the first wizard open with this port 5015. So validation, how we validate that ports are open or not, that we need to use the firewall checker on the 3.6 dashboard. Okay, you will on the 3.6 management console, there you will find in the dashboard firewall check. So this firewall check we need to do, and it should get green result. That means all ports are opened properly. If there is some red, that means the ports are not opened properly, and we need to open all the ports. Then only we can do, like we have some SIP trunk configuration. We need remote IP phones configuration, configuration that will not work properly if the firewall check is failed. Okay, and firewall check only tests UDP ports, not the HTTP or TCP ports. Okay, so this is something showing the example. If we are doing firewall check and it is getting failed some of the ports, then what is recommendation? That means firewall configuration had not done or is incorrect. Contact firewall manufacturer supported so that you will do it properly. Do not call 3.6 support for assistance configuring your firewall. Okay, 3.6 will not help you. They will not help in assisting you configure the firewall. So do not attempt to create SIP trunks, bridges, or remote extensions, because you can face any issues because your ports are not open properly. Okay, remote extensions or SIP trunks won't register because the firewall checkers failed. That means all the ports are not opened. So again, if we are doing as some, most of the ports are open, but some are failed. Again, the same thing. Okay, we have to make sure that all ports are open properly, and it should get success. Okay, all the ports are green. That means it's a success. That means full core NAT has been correctly configured and tested. Port preservation has been correctly configured. SIP LG disabled, and the TC ports are not tested within the PBX. It can test only UDP ports. So it is all done. Now I can use we can use the remote extensions. We can use anything SIP trunk. We can register SIP trunk. Everything we can do. So SIP ALG, as I told you, it should be disabled. If it is getting detected, that means it should get disabled. So we had to disable it. So we need to make sure that it is disabled on the firewall. So this is the firewall, and this is very important thing, because if your ports are opened properly, then you will not face issues. But if it is not done properly, then there will be lots of issues. Because as I told you, network is the backbone, and this firewall configuration is very important. Now, if our firewall is done now, if we are using the SIP trunks now, uh, SIP trunks obviously we will use for the PSTN connectivity, so that we can make the calls to the external network, like on the mobile, on the landline, local, international, all the calls. So what are the prerequisites? What provider types we can use, or what are the concept of SIP trunk, inbound rules, outbound rules? Okay, so we will go one by one all of them. So first comes the prerequisites of module. If we want to use the SIP trunk, first thing should be it should be supported SIP trunk. So we need to check with the 3.6 website what are all the supported SIP trunk providers. Okay, why? Because their templates are given and it is easy to configure. And if we face any issues during the time of configuration, 3.6 support technical team will definitely help. But if it is not supported SIP trunk provider, it is some generic, then the 3.6 will not support. The next thing should be firewall check performed and passed. The firewall check should be done and it should be passed, so that you can configure the SIP trunk with the 3.6 without any issue. That means your ports are opened, you are not facing any issue in registering the SIP trunk. So this is the prerequisites. Okay. Now SIP trunk wide provider supported wide providers, as I told you, it should be passed with IoT, it should be templated Okay, if it is supported, the template is already present in the 3.6, so it is easy to get set up. Okay, you will not face the issues. And support from 3.6 support team, as I told you, if you face any issues during the time of configuration, a 3.6 support team will help you. But if it is generic wide provider, it is not tested with 3.6, no template is present. Okay, you have to do all the SIP fields manually, you have to configure it, and no 3.6 support available. Okay, so always use the recommended 3.6 supported SIP trunk providers. SIP trunk providers provide public switch telephone network, as I told you, PSTN calling access. Okay, you can call the numbers which can transport via existing internet lines, Ethernet, DSL, fiber cable. Okay, no additional hardware is required for this. Okay, you can terminate on the 3.6 server. So all the things you can make outbound call, pay low rates, show a global presence. So mainly that's why we are using this SIP trunk is same how we are going to use the SIP trunk, or we are using some uh, we can say even T1 line, PRL line, or we are using FXO line, analog line, or we are using now, right now we are talking about the SIP trunk. Why? Or we are using these all providers just to make the calls, PSTN calls. So if we are going to use SIP trunk, how we are going to add it? It is very simple. In the management console, there's a SIP trunk in the left hand side tab. We just go and add the SIP trunk button. Then we have to choose the country and supported provider, which provider we are using, and the main trunk number that is provided by the provider, SIP trunk provider. We have to provide this and click OK, and then it will get registered with our 3.6. Then once 3.6 is the SIP trunk is registered with 3.6, then we had to make the inbound and outbound rules so that we can make the calls and we receive the calls. So if we need to make the DID inbound rules, route incoming calls to destination based on the dial number, like based on the destination number where we need to send the call, we need to send it some extension, we need to send some voicemail, we need to forward it some outside number or fax service. So it depends upon how we are going to route the call. So for that, we need to create the inbound rules where we are going to receive the calls. So different destination based on the time of the day or holiday. If we have different destination means time of the day means in the morning with office hours, lunchtime, out of office hours. Accordingly, we can receive the call or send the call to some other numbers or the other destination number. Or if there's a holiday where we are going to send the call. Okay, so it depends upon how we are going to use these inbound rules. So additional DID numbers for trunk with multiple numbers associated. If we have more than one DID numbers, we just simply go to the SIP trunk in your trunk. There, we in the DID tab we can add more DID numbers. Okay, and we can use the wildcard mask also, like star and in the last three 6 digits of DID number, and all the numbers will come whatever is this last 6 digits. Rest the first part will come, all the calls will come to this particular numbers. So we can use, but the main truck number, always we use the main truck number, complete main truck number. We don't use the wildcard for the main truck number. So these are all DID numbers we can add, and then accordingly we can choose the call how to use, if we can use these particular DID numbers for the users, okay, so that they can receive the call directly to their extension. We can use a DID on that way, or how we are going to use it depends upon our inbound rules, how we are going to use. So inbound DID, simply go to the management console inbound rules and add the DID number. Set the name is optional. If we are going to use some name, then we choose the DID number, which DID number we want to use, and then point to the destination where we are going to use. Whenever the call will come on this particular number, where we need to send the number on some particular extension or some ring group or some external number. So it depends where we are going to send, route calls accordingly. Okay, so we make the DID inbound DID rule. Just provide some name, get this particular DID from the drop down, and then send the call to particular extension. So this is the call DID number, that means inbound rules for receiving the call. Now outbound rules, that means now we are going to call outside from inside. We can allow the calls or restrict the calls or the call numbers. Okay, we are going to restrict the calls. Is the user having the authenticate, or is authenticated to make the calls or not? Okay, so we can allow it or restrict it in the outbound rules. Accordingly, we can make the outbound rules. So, but outbound rule is based on the criteria. There are four criteria on which any one of the criteria should match, then only the call will go. The first criteria is destination number. Okay, what is the destination number? What we are using? Okay, if we are doing the call on this particular number plus 971, send the call to the provider. If then second one is originating internal extension, from which extension that we are going. Okay, I am calling from extension 111. Okay, if someone is calling from extension this, send the call to the provider. The third criteria is originating extension based on the group member. Okay, group, that means we have some group user. There's a sales group, there's HR group, there is a support group. If some group, if the from this particular group the call is going, send it to the provider. And the last one is dial number length. What is the length number that we are called? Okay, if there's a 12-digit number, send the call to the provider. So make sure any of these four criteria should be there. It should not be blank, all the four. That means the call will not go if all the four are criteria are blank. So at least there should be one, at least there should be one criteria, so that it will match this criteria and send the call to provider. Okay, so now it is showing how to use this in the management console. Outbound rules add, we provide the rule name, rule outbound. Okay, then these are the criterias. It is showing first criteria 0 to 9 comma plus, that means any number starting from 0 to 9 or with the plus, send it to provider. Okay, so this is the criteria, it will match and then send the call to the provider. Set route provider. Route means this is the Y provider which we have added, and it we are sending it. If we need to strip or prepend some digit, it depends how we are going to dial the number and which number we are going to send outside. Accordingly, we can strip or prepend. If we are sending it in the same way, then we don't need to strip anything or prepend anything. Just send it to provider, it will go out. So if we have some emergency numbers, we need to identify our emergency numbers so that we can don't make those numbers in the extension. Okay, we should not use those numbers, emergency numbers, extension numbers. So like if we have 3-digit extension numbers, do not create extensions 112 911 999 extra. So these are all the emergency numbers. So if we go to the management console, in setting tab, there is a general tab, and there we will find emergency numbers. Here we can configure the emergency numbers. Whenever someone is calling, we can send it to the provider. Okay, so this is the emergency numbers. So outbound caller ID, we can make it default for all extensions or per extensions. If we want to make it default for all extensions, simply in the SIP trunk, your trunk caller ID, there we can configure the outbound caller ID. It will go the same for all the extensions. If we need for per extension number, then in the extension tab, we will go to the extension general, and there we will provide our caller ID. It will go with the particular extensions, what caller ID we need to send to the outside. So it depends on how we are going to configure it. So outbound caller ID is showing just an example, like what type of caller ID common formats in the Europe or on the US is like +4900 for international, 490-221. So this is all how we are going to use the caller ID format. So it depends upon our requirement and what type of number format we are going to use. So accordingly, we can use this number format. We are using with the plus or 00. So common setup and errors, like outbound call drops after 32 seconds. What will be the issue? Firewall check not passed. That could be the issue, that your firewall check is not passed. The ports are not opened properly, all the ports. There should be some wrong public IP address or active CPLG. As I told you, CPLG should be always disabled. It should not be active. So one-way audio, yes, again one-way audio, again the firewall check is not passed, CPLG could be the reason it's not disabled, set you can face these errors. So these are all the firewalls. And the SIP trunk, if we are going to use a SIP trunk, now we will see some voicemail. Okay, what is the voicemail? Okay, so we will see some general information. We will see notification greeting in the voicemail. How, what is the transcription in the voicemail? What quota, security, and how we take the backup. Okay, so first we will see the notification like message wait indicator, MWI, message wait indicator that comes on the IP phone light. It blinks your light. That means you have some voicemail. It will show you message wait indicator. So email notification is also, if you are going to use voicemail for email notification, what type of option you want to use? You want to use notification only, or you want to use notification with the voicemail in the WAV file format attached, or you want the notification with the WAV file attached, then delete voicemail from the PBX. Once you receive it, then delete it from the PBX. Okay, so this is the settings you will simply get in the voicemail tab, and once you go in the 3.6 management console, then in the voicemail you can make this email option what type of notification you want. So in the 3.6 apps and web client also, you will find in the voicemail section tab, you will find the voicemail. So this is the voicemail, and this is the setting. Okay, actually this is nothing the logic or something. This is simply the settings you need to provide for the your voicemail, how you are going to use this notification. Okay, so voicemail greeting, yes, you can use the pre-recorded wave file format, same PCM 8 kilohertz 16 bit mono. Okay, you can record it from your phone. Okay, simply from your extension number you can record it, and default greeting for all extension profiles should be there. Different greeting per extension, if you want a different greeting per extension, then you have to add it on your extension, the greeting simply for in the forwarding rules. Okay, so simply you can have the different this greeting for the per extension. You need to add this in your extension. Okay, or we can have the default greeting for all extensions. So it depends how we are going to use it. We are using same or we are using different for all extensions. So voicemail transcription is, what is voicemail transcription? It is like from speech to text. Okay, if someone is sending the voicemail, whatever is he's sending, it will come in the text format also. Okay, but this feature will come only with the pro or enterprise license, not with the standard. Okay, if we have pro license or the enterprise license, then only we will get this feature. We can enable this feature globally for all extensions, or it depends. If we don't want to give this feature to every extension, then users, we need to disable it. So transcript text visible is where we can see this transcript text. If someone is sending the voicemail, where we can find this? We can find it in two places, either on the voicemail email, that means voicemail email, which we will get when in the last slide we find email notification. Okay, if we are getting the email notification with the voicemail, there we can find this transcription, or on the web client, 3.6 web client. If we go in the 3.6 web client in the voicemail tab, there also we will find the voicemail with the transcription. Okay, hi, give me a call back, whatever it is, it will come. That means it will come in two places, either on the voicemail email or on the web client. So voicemail quota, by default 5 GB quota is assigned, but we can increase or decrease as per our requirement how much quota we are going to use for the voicemail. And when we are going to get the notification, okay, your quota is getting over, or your quota is getting to be usage 75%. So it depends how much quota we are going to use. After 75% is getting booked, or 80 or 90% or 50%, send the email to the administrator that your voicemail quota is getting usage this much percentage. So again, auto delete the older voicemail We can select the days, 30 days, 60 days, 180 days. So it depends upon our requirement how we are going to delete the old voicemails from the system. So this is again the all the quota, we can see the configuration part simply, and this we had to do as per our requirement. What is our requirement? Accordingly we had to choose the details here. Whenever we create the voicemail is enabled by default. Okay, whenever we get extension, voicemail is enabled for the by default. If we don't want to use this voicemail feature to the user, then we need to disable it manually. Okay, we need to go the extension in the voicemail tab. There we can disable it. So voicemail security, what is it giving? Is giving the same voicemail functionality can be disabled. We can disable it, yes, if we don't want to give this feature. Voicemail authentication can be disabled. If we don't want to authenticate the voicemail, we can disable it. Only applies for extension devices. So 3 failed authentication attempts blocks access for 2 minutes. If we are going to use this authentication and we are giving failed 3 times, then for it will block the authentication for 2 minutes. Okay, for 2 minutes, it we can't use this voicemail. We can't enter or use this voicemail for 2 minutes. It will block it. So by default, 4-digit pin is generated whenever we create the extension. For the voicemail, it is 4-digit pin, but up to 10 digits we can use. If we want to change it, up to 10 digits we can use. So, so this is all again the features we are going to use, or we are going to give the users this or not. Okay, so it depends. So this is like a security. If we are, want to disable the voicemail, we can disable it. If we want to disable the voicemail pin authentication, we can do it. If we want to change the pin number from 4 to 10 digits, we can use it. So this is all how we are going to use the voicemail feature. If we talk about the backup, yes, we can take the backup whenever we take the backup of our system. There is the voicemail also. If we want to take the backup voicemails, we will just want to click on this voicemail tab. It will take the backup of the voicemails as well as. So this is the voicemail. Digital receptionist, or we can say IVR. Okay. So you understand this receptionist, what types, what are the menu options, what is direct dialing. We will see all these one by one in the digital receptionist module. So first comes, we need to create a voice menu. Obviously, digital reception means IVR means we need to create some voice means. Okay, like thank you for calling ABC. For sales, please press 0. For support, please press 1. For HR, please press 3. So this is the menu we need to first create. So prompt user for input, it will prompt the user like 0 for sales. If the user will want to talk to the sales, it will press the 0 and the call will go to the sales group. Okay, so then the predefined transfer option based on the keyboard input. Okay, predefined option, like if he puts 0, that is for the sales, it will go to the particular group or the extension. Then can call any extension direct dial. That means if the user knows the extension number of the already extension number of the user, like he's calling, so he can directly dial the particular extension number 111, and the call will directly go to the particular user. He don't want to listen all the menu options. He can directly call to the particular user. And audio file format will be same, wave format, PCM, 8 kilohertz, 16-bit mono. Okay, so this is like IVR menu. Simply the digital research is like, thank you for calling this. For 0, please, for sales, please press 0. For support, please press 1. User put the input, press 1, and the call will go to the sales group. Okay, or if he knows the extension number directly, he can just press the extension number directly, and the call will go to particular extension. So that's why now we will see the types of digital receptionists. We have standard, we have DTM of input, we have launch script, wake up, MS. Mainly we use always the standard, that is simple menu options from 0 to 9, and direct dialing is present in standard option. Okay, this direct dialing is present in the standard option. If we have some more complex DTM of more complex routing options in the DTM of, if we have launch script able to trigger external scripts, if we have wake up dial digitalized to use it a reminder or wake up calls, if we have MX exchange hands off to DL functionality or to exchange server. So these are the different ones. We always mostly use this standard one, okay, which is the simple menu options, and from 0 to 9 the input will be provided by the user, and direct dialing is also present. If now we don't want to use this direct dialing option, then we don't use this type of digital receptions. Apart from standard, we can use any other, because by default in standard direct dialing is enabled. Okay, so creating standard digital reception is simple. It is going to management console. There we can find the left hand side digital receptions tab. We can add, provide some name to digital receptions, type of receptions, what type of we need, like standard or any other. Then prompt file, what type of audio file format we are going to use, which file we are going to use, we will upload that. And simply it will, whenever then the call will come to this digital receptions, it will provide the menu option. And language will be override the default system prompt for rest of the specific call. Okay, so it is simply whenever the call will come to this service, we provide this all information. It will play this audio format file. Okay, thank you for calling this. Then accordingly we will prompt the options. Once the call will come, then where we will need to send the call or current the call. Okay, there are lots of options present. What we are going to do with the call. Okay, if the user presses 0, what we are going to do with the call, we need to connect to the extension, we need to connect it to some ring group, or we need to connect to some call queue, or we need to connect to some other digital receptionist, or we need to transfer to voicemail, or do nothing, or we need to repeat the prompt again, or we need to end the call, play prompt and exit, and send the call to call flow designers, call flow app. Okay, so these are the options that what we are going to do whenever the user prompt this particular number. Okay, like for 0, we are going to send the call to sales group, so we are going to send it to the particular extension number or some ring group or queue. So it depends how we are going to send the call. Okay, so again, the menu options, call by name, that is also one of the feature. What is call by name is simply call an extension based on the last name. Okay, it is like smart dialing by the name, by the last name it will connect the call to the extension. Call by name requirement, we need to create some our own self identification prompt. Whenever the match will be one or more than one or less than 10, then the self ID prompt for each it will prompt, and that we can select accordingly, and the call will go to the particular extension. So digital receptions, direct dialing, as I told you, what is direct dialing is simply nothing, ability to dial the extension without menu options. We don't need to wait for the menu options. We can simply dial the user extension number if we know it already, and the call will come to particular user directly. We don't need to wait. And this is available only with the standard type of data receptionist. Okay, and if we don't want this feature like direct dialing, then we have to use some other digital receptionist apart from the standard, because in standard it is by default enabled. So what if there is no input from the user, or there is some invalid input from the user? Then what to do with the call? That is also present in the downside in the settings. If there is no input, okay, after this timeout, like after 60 seconds, or we put 20 seconds or 30 seconds as per our requirement. Once the time out is reached, normal menu options. Okay, what to do? We have to repeat it. We have to end the call. What we are going to do with the call? Okay, if no input from the user within the particular timeout. Okay, and if there's an invalid input, what to do? How to transfer the call? we need to transfer to some other extension or a ring group or repeat the prompt, whatever you need to do. So this is again the settings. If there is no input from the user, okay, during the digital receptionist IVR is going on, or there's some invalid user input, then what we are going to do with the call. So one more is holiday. Okay, holiday digital receptionist. Okay, so this is again the simple thing. If we have holiday digital receptionist and it will be global holiday, so it will override all the other digital receptionists. Okay, it will override all the other menu options and it will play the holiday, global holiday. Like every year, 25th of December, every year there's a Christmas. So we know it and we have configured it as a global holiday, and whatever other digital systems or like office hours, out of office hours, or other some holiday, it will override and it will play the global holiday because it's already configured and it is every year on the same day. So it will override all the flow for this holiday. So this we have to configure in the digital resources tab. So the last module is the ring group. Okay, so what are the ring groups? What are the ring strategies for the ring groups, and what are the options that we get in the ring group? And there's one more thing, that's a paging group. One is ringing group and one is paging group. Okay, paging group are two types: alert paging group and multicast paging group. So we will go one by one. Okay, and we will differentiate what is the ring group and what is the paging group. So first we will see ring group. A ring group is nothing, it will merge multiple extension numbers into a single number. That means we have some virtual number, like 800 is a virtual number, and beside in the backend there are other extension numbers that are merged with this particular number. Okay, so it will create a ring group. That means we have 5 extensions within one ring group. Okay, so how we are going to, whenever the call will come to this particular ring group, how it will come to all the extension numbers. If we have 10 extensions behind the ring group, how, then it is up to the ringing strategy, what ringing strategy you have chosen. It is ring all or prioritize hunt. If it is ring all, that means all the extensions will get ring at the same time. If whenever the call is coming to this particular ring group, okay, like sales, we have sales ring group, we have support ring group. Who are all the sales ring group? Like we have 10 extensions, everyone will get the call at the same time, and whoever is picking the call will receive the call. And the second one is prioritize hunt. That means it will be prioritized first, it will bring to first extension, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, accordingly how many extensions are in the ring group, it will bring one by one. Okay, so how we are creating the ring group is very simple. In the manager console ring groups tab, there we can simply add the ring group and provide some name to the ring group, and then add the agents, or we can say extensions, to this ring group. Okay, then we have to choose a ringing strategy. We are using prioritize hunt or ring all, and ring time, how much time it will ring for particular extension, for 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 15, 30, depending on our requirement. So after this we need to add the group members. Once our ring group is created, then we have to add the members. We need to add 2, 10, 15, up to our requirement, how many uh, members we need to add in this particular ring group. So members, what the members will do, members answer ring group calls, one call per member. Okay, if busy, it will not retarget, it will go to the other. Okay, so part of multiple ring groups, that means one extension can be part of multiple ring groups. If we have one user, it could be the part of the sales group, it could be the part of support group, or any other groups. That means multiple ring groups. Then whenever the call will come to this particular ring group, it will ring to all extensions. It depends upon which ringing strategy we have. We have ring all or prioritize hunt. Accordingly, it will ring. So ring all, as you know, ring all, it will ring at the same time all the extensions. But if we have prioritize hunt, okay, then always ring the first available member in the list. That means we have 5 members, or we have in this example 4 members. So it will first ring to extension 1. Okay, this is available. If he is busy or he's not receiving the call, then it will go to the extension 2. Then if he is not receiving the call or he's busy, then it will go to the extension 3 and then 4. So next available member in the list after ring time. Whenever ring time is getting over, it will go to the next extension. So if no answer, if no agent or no user will get give the answer, then it will go to the destination. If no answer, it will send the call to destination. What to do with the call? If no one answers, what to do with the call? We have to end the call, or we have to repeat the prompt, or we are sending to some other extension or group. Then accordingly it will go. Okay, so in this order, members order influences in the prioritize hunt, because how we are adding the members, it will influence, because it will go one by one. Okay, it will choose one by one. So order is very important in the prioritize hunt. If it is ring all, it will not make any sense. We can make any order. That orders doesn't matter in the ring all, because it will ring anyhow to the all members. But if it is prioritize hunt, we have to choose accordingly how we are going to use the members. Accordingly we have to add the members in the ring group. Ring all, as you know, it is simultaneous ringing to all at the same time, and who are first answer the call, a call will get connected. Okay, and what if no answer? If no one answers the call, then destination. If no answer, then what to do with the call? We are sending to some other extension number, or we are sending to some other extension. It depends. So ring group options, what are the options? As I told you, if no one answers destination, if no answer, then what to do with the call? Call will transfer to pre-configured destination like end call, or we will connect it to some other ring group or extension, or we are sending it to some voicemail of the single extension or the group of extension, or we are sending it to forward external number or outside number. So these are the options what to do with the call if nobody answers. Okay, either the ringing strategy is ring all or prioritize hunt. If no one in the group is answering, then what to do with the call? Okay, so these are the all options. So we have to configure it accordingly. What is our requirement? So ring group missed call handling. Okay, now what to do with the missed call? If missed call is coming, like somebody was busy and now the missed call, and he will see how it will come. So it depends on the ringing strategy. Okay, if we have ring all ringing strategy, then destination if no answer, if nobody answers, all the members will get notified. Okay, as a missed call, all the members will get notified, and members answer. If some answer the call, then no one will get notified in the ring all strategy. Okay, and if we have prioritize hunt ringing strategy, and no one answers, destination no answer, all will get notified. Nobody answers, all will get notified. Okay, but members answer, previously polling members get notified. That means if we have 5 members, third member answered the call when it was ringing to the third member, only the first and second will get notified, rest will not get notified. Okay, so this is the differentiate between the missed call if it is ring all and prioritize hunt, how it works. Dropped call handling, yes, if the user will drop the call. Okay, caller drops the call, if it is ring all, every agent will get notified. Okay, but if it is prioritize hunt, polling members only get notified. That means up to the member, if we have 5 members, up to the member second it was ringing, then the caller disconnect the call, I don't want to call, he disconnects, only these 2 will get notified, rest will not get. Okay, so now paging groups, that was the ring groups. Okay, how ring groups works and how we can create the ring groups and what are the ringing strategies. Okay, now if we have the paging group also merges the multiple extensions but into okay, into a single number, but calling the paging group all member extension auto answer. Okay, paging group is like only one way audio. Okay, It is the caller to the members. If I am calling, I can give message to the other members only. They can't give reply or answer back. Okay, it's a one-way audio. Okay, we need to make some announcements. We can announce to all the members of the paging groups, and it will be heard by every member who are on the paging group, but they can't make the answer. They can only listen. So it is one-way audio. So two types of paging groups are there. There is the alert or the multicast. Okay. So first we will see what is the alert. Alert is up to only we can have 64 members, and it works how it works. It works local extensions or remote stun extensions. If we have remotely stun extensions, there also it will work, and remote SBC extensions. If we have provisioned behind the SBC, it will work. Okay, so this is the alert paging group. Okay, how it works with the local as well as remote SBC as well as stun. If we have multicast paging group, it will work with the local extensions only and with the desk phones only. Okay, any number of extensions. There is no limit of the extensions. It will work with the n number of extensions. But the thing is with the local extensions, not the remote, only local and with the desk phones only, because this multicasting feature should be enabled for those desk phones. It will work with those only. Okay, so creating a paging group is very simple. In the ring group tab, there is the paging, add paging group. Then we have to choose the strategy and paging group name. We will provide some name, and then members, so we'll add the members. Okay, so we want to use the multicast or alert paging group, whatever we want to use. We have to choose the paging accordingly, which strategy we are going to use. If we are using paging normal alert, then there's simple settings. This group, this virtual number and the name, that's it, and the group members. If we want to use the multicast, then we have to provide the IP multicast, IP address, port number, okay, codec. So these are the all settings if we are going to use the multicast. Okay, desk phone configured via phone provision tab. Okay, so this will work with the desk phones only, and the phones that are having this feature that will support this multicasting, those IP phones will only work. Okay, so this is the paging group if we are going to use the paging group. So that's it. So we are done. All the modules has been covered. Any questions? I will repeat again, if somebody has not yet done the certification and they want to do, they can send us email on the support@cytec.ae, and we can help them in passing the certification, basic certification. If it is not yet done, where anyone has not yet done, we can help you definitely in passing the same. They can send us email at this email address, support@cytec.ae. We will help you in passing the certification. So because this is recommended from the and mandatory from the 3CX, so please, if someone has not yet done the certification, pass the certification, so do it because it is mandatory. Yes, then only you can go ahead, and then we will next we will do the intermediate and the advanced also. So I request who has not yet done the basic certification, do it, and if they need help, they can come to us, and then they can go to the next step for the intermediate, and then the last is advanced, so they can go all the way. And hopefully next week we will go for the intermediate training session. And this was the basic. Presentation, yes, we can send, not an issue. We will share with all the participants who are all the users. We will share this presentation with all the users, not an issue. So anything else, any questions? Or we are good to go and close this session for today? So thank you everyone for joining this session. As I told you, if anyone needs this basic certification, they can send us email on support@scitech.ae, and hopefully we'll do the intermediate training next week, and then the advanced. So thank you and see you soon. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.